good day to you all. Today we turn to Derek Walcott's Dream on Monkey Mountain, a play that powerfully captures the psychological and cultural scars left by colonization. Written in 1970, it explores how colonial rule dehumanized the black race and instilled in them a deep sense of inferiority. Through the struggles of Mackay and Lestrade, Walcott reveals the internalized racism, loss of identity, and mimicry that define the colonized experience. The play exposes how language, color, and belief were used as tools of domination, forcing the black man to see himself through the eyes of his oppressor. At its core, Dream on Monkey Mountain becomes a journey of self-discovery and resistance, showing that freedom begins only when the colonized reclaim their culture, identity, and sense of worth. Race Defamation, a post-colonial reading of Derek Walcott's Dream on Monkey Mountain. Post-colonial representations in the play Dream on Monkey Mountain is a true depiction of the degraded condition of the black by the colonizers. Throughout the play, different forms of underestimations are noticed. At the very beginning of the play, the readers encounter the first racist statement by Lestrade, the main character of the play. Mackay, along with Tigre and Source, are imprisoned, and Lestrade behaves like a white master, though he is a mere mulatto who has forgotten his own identity. Lestrade considers the black as inferior to him, and he orders them. Animals, beasts, savages, cannibals, niggers, stop turning this place to a stinking zoo. The above line is full of racist demonstrations that the blacks are compared to animals. They are dehumanized to an extent that they are beasts and cannibals. They are detached from human qualities and they are described as evil beings. The word nigger is offensively used to describe the black. As a typical colonial discourse, the blacks are savages and primitive beings who simply do not know how to live, as they are equated to animals. The mentioned racist statement is one of the most dreadful sarcasms throughout the entire play. In another scene, Corporal Lestrade continues his racist description of the black. In the beginning was the ape, and the ape had no name, so God called him man. Now there were various tribes of the ape. It had gorilla, baboon, ogun-otun, chimpanzee, the blue-arsed monkey, and the marmoset. And God looked at his handiwork and saw that it was good. For some of the apes had straightened their backbones and started walking upright. But there was one tribe, unfortunately, that lingered behind, and that was the nigger. The story of creation is explained in the above quotation. However, it is only done in a manner to belittle the black. Although Lestrade is of an African descendant, yet he thinks he no longer belongs to his people as he is not as black as them. He is a mulatto. Though on a rare occasion, Lestrade admits his race as that of the colonized and as a black. He does it in a way that he is better than them and he is there to aid them. Cultural hybridity is evident in his behavior. He reveals this when he is conversing with an inspector. And if you know how much I would like to do for these people, my people, you will understand even better. There is not any sense of being pride in counting himself as black, as he calls they. He detaches himself from them of a different ethnic group. Although he calls them my people for once, he refers to them as they and them 7 times in a mere statement. This double consciousness or in-betweenness is a result of brainwashing of Lestrade by the colonizers. He is a mulatto who has forgotten his identity and blindly mimics the colonizers to be accepted by them. Colonization created a deep divide between the cultures of the colonizers and the colonized. The West viewed itself as civilized, scientific, and developed, while labeling the colonized as primitive, superstitious, and inferior. This imposed sense of otherness is clearly reflected in the play and becomes the root of Mackay's inner conflict and dissatisfaction with life. Moreover, the language of the black is offended and it is conceded to be incomprehensible. This happens when in jail, Lestrade asks Mackay about his country and he responds that he is from Sir Mon Mackay. Lestrade answers him angrily stating, English, English, for we are observing the principles and precepts of Roman law, and Roman law is English law. Let me repeat the query, where is your home? This process of disgracing the language of the black, which is part of their culture, is another racist and colonized ideology of the white man's mentality. The blacks are obliged to talk in the language of the colonizer. In the play, the colonizers are English, as admitted by Lestrade. Mackay has no choice but to follow the orders of the colonizers and talk in their language. Name is an identity, something that people are recognized with. When individuals do not possess a name, they have their distinguished identities. At the beginning of the play, when Corporal Lestrade asks Mackay about his name, he is hesitant, embarrassed, and cannot remember his identity. He answers, I am tired. The issue of having no identity is, I am tired. The issue of having no identity is due to being black, and the playwright brilliantly represents this in the embodiment of his central character, Mackay. He suffers a great deal of pain as a result of colonial rule. He hates himself for being black, and for the last 30 years, he has not looked at his image in the mirror. Not only in the mirror he tries to avoid, but even when he drinks water, he tries his best not to see his reflection in the water. For all his life, Mackay has looked at himself through the eyes and perspectives of his English colonizers. Mackay is thus one of those colonized people who is ashamed of his race while standing in front of the judges, trying to convince them of his innocence. This is how he describes himself. Sirs, I am 60 years old. I have lived all my life like a wild beast in hiding, without a child, without a wife. People forget me like the mist in Monkey Mountain. It's 30 years I have looked in no mirror, not a pool of cold water when I must drink. I stir my hands first to break up my image. Mackay's dream becomes the catalyst for his search for identity and return to his roots on Monkey Mountain. In the dream, he sees a white goddess symbolizing white superiority, who tells him to go back and be the king of his people. This reveals how deeply colonial ideology has affected Mackay's subconsciousness, making him view the white figure as a savior and accept white supremacy as natural. Colonization has instilled in the colonized a belief in their inferiority, causing them to idolize their oppressors and lose touch with their own culture and history. Yet, it is only after this dream being symbolically validated by the white goddess that Mackay begins to reconcile with his black identity. In his vision, he becomes a leader and healer, urging his followers to embrace their roots, telling them, "You are trees under pressure and brilliant diamonds." Through this, Walcott conveys that he colonized still struggles to reclaim their true identity as they continue to seek validation from the very forces that once oppressed them. As the play continues, Lestrade, the corporal, also gives up his loyalty to the white and joins Mackay to rejoin their black identity and inheritance. Too late have I loved thee, Africa of my mind, Serati Amavi, to Said Saint Augustine, who they say was black. I dared thee because I hated half of myself, my clips, but now in the heart of the forest at the foot of the Monkey Mountain. I kiss your foot, O Monkey Mountain. Now I feel better, now I see a new light. Lestrade, who himself has been for so long assimilated to the white culture, now advises Mackay not to consider the white women's speech so seriously. He abandons the idea of imitating the white and quits being their mouthspeak. He eventually understands that no one would accept and embrace him but his own people. According to the mentality of the white people, the colonized people do not have basic rights. Derek Valcor has painfully illustrated this in his play through a dialogue between Tigre and another black prisoner, and Corporal Lestrade. Tigre said, "Being a damn supper, Lestrade, I have me rights, you know. Corporal, your rights? Listen, nigger, according to this world, you have the inalienable right to life, liberty, and 3 green figs. No more, maybe less." Lestrade mocks him for the fact. Tigre said, "I have me right." Lestrade denies Tigre's right, and he also admits that he only follows what he has been ordered to do. "I didn't make the rule." Lestrade is another prisoner without handcuffs. Otherness is a major concept in postcolonialism. The colonized are represented as inferior and outsiders. There is a huge gap between them and us. The former represents other and outside the box of a privileged life. This is best represented by Macaque's friend Mustique. When he is talking to Macaque, "You is nothing, you black, ugly, poor, so you worse than nothing. You like a small, ugly, with a foot like a S. Man together, 2 of us is -1. The colonizers program the colonized in a way they believe that the colonized are uncivilized people. This negative thinking and the idea of considering a race as nothing is the target of the colonizers. As previously mentioned, the black are compared to animals, and this impression is accepted by the colonized people, and in the play it is portrayed through Mustique's statement when he prays for a day when niggers everywhere could walk upright like men. It becomes clear that the colonized accept the colonizers' claim that the black are not the same type of mankind. Mimicry as a main concept in postcolonialism throughout this text, many examples are given which illustrates Lestrade's imitation of the white. By the end of the play, he reconciles with the other black characters and realizes his wrongdoings. He says, "Oh God, I have become what I mocked. I always was Macaque. Macaque, forgive me, old father." Homi Ke Bhaba's idea of mimicry is completely represented through the character of Lestrade. No matter how hard colonized individuals endeavor to be like the white, they are never fully accepted by the colonizer. The reason is simple: the black is primitive and savage, while the white is born civilized and privileged. This idea of approving is represented through Macaque's response to Lestrade's repentance to become one more accepted as a black person by his people. "The reject half of you, we accept all." So, I am going to conclude the entire lecture. Derek Valcor's Dream on Monkey Mountain is a play written in a form of a dream. The playwright has depicted the undermining condition of the black while being colonized by the white. The white has presented their policies and legacies through a mulatto, Lestrade, who has served the white's ideology of belittling the black. One of the legacies of the colonizers is to implant the theory that the white is superior and they are the saviors of the black. The mentality of the white is clearly portrayed in the play, in which they attempt to underestimate the peculiarity of the black. It can be concluded that the black race is defamed by the colonizers for merely being black and true to their heritage. In the colonial discourses, the colonized people fall under the category of marginalized and otherness. Thus, they are undervalued. That is it for today. Thank you so much.